You know what? I'm feeling cocky. I'm feeling cocky indeed, Pat. You know why? Because you and I
Why?
spoke 9 months ago in the lead up to the new detention thing. And then we had this conversation.
All about that. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. I mean, would you be interested in listening to new Grinspoon music? Of course, hugely. Oh, good. Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it. Excellent. Sold. You're welcome, everyone.
Yes.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. That was the catalyst for a whole full length Grinspoon record, man. And I have to say thank you, and all the boys say thank you. And yeah, we really appreciate just the pushing and the egging on to make us finally get this done after 12 years. And yeah, I know we should have called it Sense Media Presents, really, shouldn't we?
You're welcome, Australia. Oh, that clip's going on the socials. Yeah, I reread that, rewatched this in the lead up to it. And was like, oh, son of a bitch, that's excellent. Mate, the single is awesome. It is peak Grinspoon. Like, I, oh man, it makes me giddy. I cannot wait to see this. But yeah, man, what the first of all, like there's a clip coming out that's apparently going to debut in about 2 days.
Yeah, yeah. Well, being Grinspoon and being cheapskates, what we thought we would do was we actually played at the in Adelaide on New Year's Eve. We did a corporate gig down there, and then so the night before we booked out Crybaby, which is like a legendary Adelaide dive bar, and we put on our social media about an hour before the gig that we were doing a free show, first in, best dressed. And so we got everyone in there, plied them full of drinks, and then did a set, played Unknown Pretenders twice, maybe three times. Nobody even noticed that it was a new song. And then shot a video. Got a mate of ours, Mitch Noakes, who'd done a bit of live kind of work with us before. He knew how to capture us live. He knew what we did. And then shot a video. But it's kind of like it just shows us in our element, I reckon, just playing live and doing what we do, which is what Grinspoon has kind of plied their trade on since the beginning as our live performances. So we thought it was good. We weren't going to get dressed up in suits. We're not actors, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? We're not going to Berlin to shoot a romantic video by a river or anything like that, you know what I mean? We just decided to keep it real.
I love it, man. It kind of begs the question. I mean, I know you guys have been doing your own thing and stuff, but really, why has it taken 12 bloody years for another album?
Man, to be honest with you, we did Black Rabbits in 2012. We did that over in LA with Dave Schiffman. We toured that record. It wasn't a particularly successful campaign for the band. And not long after that, in kind of mid 2013, we decided to go off the road for a while. We'd really had enough of each other. We'd had enough of making music together, all of the above. We'd been at it quite a number of years, and we just felt like we needed a break. We came back in 2017, obviously for the 20th anniversary of Guide to Better Living, and that was really, I guess, what they call in the business reactivating our back catalogue. And we've been doing that because that's been successful and people like nostalgia. And we've done Easy and New Detention now. We've activated our back catalogue out its arsehole. We've still got a few more activations to go though, don't worry. But just before COVID 2020, really early on, we went down to Adelaide and did the Adelaide 500, the car races, did just kind of like a corporate show down there, and booked ourselves into Ghost Note Studios, which is a pretty legendary studio down there, just to do a few days of standing around. What have you got? Got any riffs? What can we come up with? We actually walked away with 5 kind of rough demos of songs that we were pretty happy with, and Unknown Pretenders was actually one of them. But then, as we all know, the great pandemic hit and everything was kind of put the brakes on, really. And then it wasn't until kind of early last year where we kind of threw a Dropbox together. We had 5 songs, 2 of which actually ended up on the record. We we just put their best foot forward, the 3 kind of songwriters, which is myself and Joe and Phil, and just to see what we could come up with, see if we could get to 12 songs that we all thought would make an album, because we didn't want to make an album if we thought it was shit. You know what I mean? Just to see if we still had it in us to do something that we thought ourselves and our fans would like. Fast forward to August last year, we went down to Victoria and worked with Oscar Dawson, who is the guitar player in Holy Holy. He's got a studio on his property, and we all stayed in a house together and recorded at his studio every day. And yeah, we kept it all under wraps, basically because we were trying to not make a big deal out of it at the time. But also, if it didn't work out, well, we didn't tell anyone we did it. But yeah, so now the big announcement was on Sunday night, first new Grinspoon music in 12 years, first album in 12 years, and first national tour in maybe longer.
I noticed too with the, looking at, because I think this is, 49-date tour. And I've noticed that some of these, it feels like you're not going out of your way to necessarily play the biggest venue in town. You kind of like, some of these are RSLs, like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, a lot of it's really regional, because for the last 6 years, we've been asking people to come to us, We've been saying, okay, we're playing in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide, and not venturing too far outside of the capital cities, Newcastle, bigger regionals. But we just felt like with everything that's going on, cost of living, we're going to try and keep our ticket prices down, and we're going to come to the people rather than the people having to come to us. I mean, we used to tour like this a lot when we were, first starting out, and even in our early first few albums, we used to tour like this. Smaller venues, really the capital cities were doing smaller venues, but that's just, it's kind of bringing it back to plan A, like we're playing the Metro in Sydney, Russell Street in Melbourne, like they're gigs that we know so well, but we haven't played in a long time. And it's really exciting to go back there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like, I really like.
And the thing about, let me just add to that. The thing about doing RSLs and all of that stuff is because we want to try and make as many gigs as we can, all ages, because we know now that we're the kind of band who've got fans, who've got kids who know our music through their parents who might want to come and see us as well. We've become a multi-generational juggernaut. We are the Kiss of Australia.
And there's the quote. I love it. And it's, I respect it, mate, because as I said last time, I grew up in Tassie, but not a lot of people came down. You guys were always good to come down, and you didn't just come down to Hobart. You came to my hometown. You came to Launceston. All the time. We never missed out on a Grinspoon tour, and I think you built a lot of fans for life for that, because we were grateful for it.
Yeah, no, we definitely did. And we're going back to the Launceston Country Club. I'm sure you've noticed it's the scene of some of our greatest triumphs. So yeah. No, you're right. Like, we definitely made an effort to do as much regional touring as we could. A lot of that came from the fact that we got our start as like a Triple J band, and wherever you could hear our music, we were willing to go and play, and we were from a regional area. We were from Lismore. I mean, we didn't come from the cool streets of Surrey Hills or, Fitzroy or anything like that. Like, we were from a regional area. Why not play in regional areas? We knew what it was like when a big band bothered to come to us. You know what I mean? It was awesome. So hopefully we're paying it forward, returning the favor.
I was all set to see you guys in Brisbane for the new Detention tour, and it got rescheduled. I think like the afternoon of. What happened?
COVID.
So
yeah,
really,
Phil had like a golf. Yeah, no, it was genuinely. I think he was sick as a dog. I mean, he couldn't speak let alone sing. I don't know if it was COVID, but he was sick. I was at home, so I don't live far from Brisbane, as you know. But so I got the call. Yeah, it was like almost the night before we knew, and the morning off, which is really unfortunate that we had to do that, because that's not something we like to do, and that's something that's happened a handful of times in our 30-year history. But yeah, it was genuinely, if you can't do the show, then we're not going to make people pay good money to see a half-assed Grinspoon, that's for sure.
No, I like that. It was just unfortunate because when you rescheduled, it was the same night as when I was seeing the Mark of Cain performing.
The Mark of Cain. Don't worry, I know that. Lots of people have told me that. Don't worry. Oh man, we still had a full house at the music hall, and it was a great night. And we had to reschedule Adelaide as well, and they came to the party as well. So it didn't cause too many dramas when it came to the punters. You always know with social media how people are feeling about the fact that you've had to cancel a gig, but overall, I think people were pretty understanding.
Yeah. Oh well, I must admit, we had no idea if it was sickness or whatever. I don't know if that ever actually came out.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it just said personal reasons. I was like, oh fuck, righto. So
yeah.
Fortunately now,
yeah, that's what happened.
The only fan base you splitting is you in Brisbane. You guys are playing the same night as Parkway Drive, which I'm personally fine.
Are we?
Fan. I believe so.
Is that the Princess Theatre gig?
No, they're playing
the
at Brisbane
Tivoli.
I think they're playing.
No, because we're doing two shows in Brisbane. We're doing the Tiv and the Princess Theatre.
Why you need two? Just for shits and giggles, or just for?
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, we did the pre-sales. The shows go live on Monday morning, but we did the pre-sales for our database, and Princess Theatre's half sold out, and I think the Tiv's about the same. Yeah. So Brisbane's always been very good to us. So that being said, like if you want to come to one of those shows, and you're not a Parkway Drive fan, then you should probably get onto the tickets pretty quickly, because I can guarantee you those shows are going to sell out. If pre-sales are any indication, it's the biggest pre-sale we've ever done. We've never sold as many tickets in a pre-sale as we have for this tour.
How do you process that as a band? At your age and at this stage in your career, like
it's amazing. It's truly amazing, man. We're blessed. You know what I mean? And and once again, I think we're keeping the ticket prices down, and we're playing in venues we don't normally play at, that aren't the size of the venues we normally play at. So, there's a bit of excitement around that too. And, it's new music, and there hasn't been new music for a long time. And by the time we get on the road, we'll probably have 3 songs out there before the album drops on the 9th of August. So there's going to be plenty for people to take in. But yeah, I definitely think if you want to come to one of those shows and you're listening or watching, I would jump on that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I appreciate the ticket price thing, because it's obviously everyone's hurting these days, and it's hurting bands and stuff. But it's become the new norm for a ticket to be like $100. And
that's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, any effort to get that down is appreciated, my friend.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it's not when when you're doing those big shows and those big venues, your costs are a lot higher. You know what I mean? But we're going to try and keep our ticket prices as cheap as we possibly can. I mean, I've seen what it's going to be like, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, nice. So, mate, you are a man who has played many, many shows over the years. I've got to ask, when you've been performing on stage, what are some of the strangest things you've kind of witnessed in the crowd? Like you kind of looked up from your guitar and just been like, fuck? Has there ever been anything?
Well, I mean, there's been obviously incidents. I remember we played at the Cloisters Bar in Adelaide Uni, and someone vomited into a packet of Smith's crisps and threw it at me, and it hit me. So I didn't see them spew in the bag, but they definitely were aiming for someone. I'm thinking it must have been Phil, but they just weren't a very good throw. Wow. Yeah, I mean, you always see bizarre things happening in the crowd. You know what I mean? We've had some crazy times, man. Ask me again at the end of this tour, and I'll probably have another really, really good story for you. It's funny, as we've got older, our crowds have obviously become a little bit more mature. So things are, you see probably more 40-year-old ass trying to crowd surf while their apprentices hold them up, basically. But yeah, that's kind of the skinny of it these days. Not as much wild behaviour, but going back to these small venues, who knows what's going to happen?
Did you guys would have played the zoo a few times in your career?
You know what? We never. Oh, no, I don't think we ever played the zoo, man. We were Crash and Burn. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember the Crash and
Oh
Burn.
no, I
Uh,
have only lived here since 2012. 20.
there were two
Correct.
schools. There were two schools of rock and roll in Brisbane in the mid-90s, right? There was the zoo, and there was the Crash and Burn. Crash and Burn was owned by an Italian guy named Joe, and he took pity on these kids from Lismore who came up to do shows with Nitocris, I think. And then we continually played there until it closed down. And by the time that closed down, we'd moved on. You know what I mean? We'd moved out of that zoo zone. So I don't think Grinspoon actually ever did a gig at the zoo. In fact, I'm positive we never did.
Really interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we did gigs at the arena. We've done gigs in legendary gigs in Brisbane that are no longer there. I mean, don't get me wrong, I saw a lot of gigs at the zoo. But yeah, we were like Crash and Burn, and then we moved on to the arena, which was just up the road from the zoo, but it was a little bit bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I bring that up because the last time I saw Adelita performing there, and in the crowd, it felt like I was backstage at the big day out. I'm literally looking around. There's Sarah McLeod from the Super Jesus and Phil Jameson. Phil's has a skinful. And look across, there's like
True to form.
Kelly and the lads from Scream Feeder. Yeah, I introduced myself to Phil, and he gave me the biggest like beer breath hug ever. It was fucking amazing.
That's good. At least he didn't vomit on you.
No, it's true. He did. Bless him.
Yeah.
Pat, once again, mate, this has been fantastic. I will be seeing you at one of these gigs. I don't know which one. Don't really give a shit either. I love both venues. So, but I will be, yes, I'll be seeing you. And
yeah, I'll probably see you on the one. I'll see you in the one where Parkway Drive aren't playing.
All right, mate. Have a good one.
All right, mate. Hey, thanks for having me.